So, ladies and gentlemen, for our next spotlight on the interesting topic of redefining luxury through innovation, we are delighted to have with us Alberto Galassi, CEO, Ferretti Group, and Tackman, CEO and publisher of Robb Report Hong Kong. But before the gentlemen come on stage, please enjoy this video.
I'm gonna give you my heart, 'cause you're a sky full of stars, 'cause you light up the path. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. 'Cause in the sky full of stars, I think I saw you.
Buongiorno. We switch to Italian now.
Lei Ho. Thank you, Mr. Alberto Galassi, for coming and joining us at the inaugural Leaders of Luxury Summit. I think before we begin, there's a few things I do want to say, which is in the world of luxury leisure vessels, super yachts, few names shine as brightly as Ferretti Group. A world leader in the design, construction, and sale of yachts and vessels with a unique portfolio of prestigious and exclusive brands. What do leisure vessels say about the current luxury market industry? And how does it impact luxury? And I'm proud to say that Alberto is joining us today to deep dive further into this area. So the first question I'd like to ask you, Mr. Galassi, is how do you see the evolution of yacht building as a paradigm of luxury?
Well, thank you for the question. First of all, we should spend a few hours describing the meaning of luxury, because it's one of the most abused words is luxury. I mean, is it aspirational? Is it real luxury? And so you can spend a lot of time on this definition. For us, luxury is time. For us, luxury is freedom. For us, luxury is the pleasure of spending time in privacy and safety with your friends, cruising around in the Med, in Hong Kong, or in the Gulf. Now, we completely redesigned the concept of luxury in yachting, starting from being Italians, something that we belong to, which is beauty. You have to make something beautiful. At the end of the day, if you make a nice-looking thing or a bad-looking thing, it costs you the same amount of money. You need to be inspired by beauty. And in order to be inspired by beauty, you need to be surrounded by beauty. And this is something that we have in Italy. 51.3% of the yachting industry is made in Italy. How is it possible? Are we so good? Are we perfect? No. The Italians are not perfect, but the Italians are beautiful. è vero. So luxury in yachting today means best materials, best designers, best design. Anyone that can build up a home, building a yacht. What are we selling at the end of the day? We're not selling boats since maybe 7-8 years. We're selling lifestyle. We're selling the possibility of being with the people you like. Again, don't underestimate the superpower of privacy for rich and wealthy people. For the ultra high net worth individuals, privacy is very important. You want to be, in Italy we are like 60 million of paparazzi. You know the meaning of paparazzo? Paparazzo was a photographer in the 60s during the Dolce Vita taking shots, having very good cameras like the one of the professional photographer in front of us, if you were dating an actress in front of a restaurant in Via Veneto. Now with the mobile, we have 60 million of paparazzi in Italia. You can be spotted any second, anywhere, doing whatever. Now, our clients, and we sell in 71 countries in the world, they have completely different taste. The taste from the Americans, they like to go fast, to barbecue in the Bahamas and coming back from Miami, is very different than the taste of Hong Kong clients that we have. And we are very powerful and strong in Hong Kong. And very different from the Italian clients, and very different from the clients in the Gulf. Now, what they have in common? Privacy. They want to stay without wearing the mask, with their friends, with doing business, karaokeing, entertaining, dancing, without being on the front page of the magazine the second day, or on Instagram. We have clients that I'm allowed to mention, like Elton John, David Beckham. They don't want to be seen in their private life. They're seen already every day on stage, or when they do something as commercials, or when they do their business. So luxury, and again, it's a long story, to cut it short, is being evolved a lot. And it goes through beauty, elegance. Sorry, I have to make a formal complaint. Luxury is not elegant anymore. If Coco Chanel was still alive, she would put in flames a lot of things. If Christian Dior, same. Cristobal Balenciaga, same. Luxury used to be very elegant. Now luxury is not so elegant anymore. What we try to do in Ferretti Group, we try to provide to the clients something elegant. It's not easy, eh? Sorry, too long?
Very true. Very true. And one can imagine, I remember when I saw some of the yachts, you have to cater to a particular demographic depending on the time, the space, and the elegance. And naturally, whether you are in the Asian market or European or US markets, it has different definitions. So for Ferretti, you're very innovative. That is one of your key temple trademarks. So what innovations have maintained your leadership in the space of super yachts?
Well, I think there's some sort of craziness around, because we are, first of all, again, let's go back to the Italians. Being Italians, as my good friend, one of my best friends is in the fashion business. His name is Domenico Dolce. He's the founder of Dolce & Gabbana. He keeps saying to me, Alberto, we are Italians, we are condemned to beauty. So again, innovations, yes, but not compromising on style and beauty. So one of the things that changed completely is the way you live the boat. First of all, everybody wants to have Apple TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime, data, because they work from the boats, they spend time on the boat. Everybody with a mobile, if 15 people is going to be on board, 15 people capacity of a 30 meters yacht, 15 mobile phones always connected. This new generation, which I belong to, is I call it the look down generation, because we all look down, we never look up. And to be honest, I'm addicted to that. I should go to rehab to get free of my mobile phone. Well, connectivity is a huge change. Now with Starlink, you basically don't see any difference being at home, being in the office, or being in the boat. So boats are used more and more time than before. People spend more time on board than before. The summer break is not only the time you live on board also in the winter or in the spring. And the other thing is how close you want to be to the sea. So opening spaces at the stern of the boat, People like to have this sort of beach areas, huge beach areas. Some competitors, they sell a beach and not a boat, but we try to compromise between the beach area and boat. And one more other thing, which is completely different, is the windows. Light. If you compare a boat of 20 years ago with a boat of today, from the size of the porthole to the windows, light. And most of them are becoming floating museums, collections of contemporary art on board. So with a special attention on how you position your collection of art, and the beauty of seeing the painting that changes the color according to the weather outside or to the color of the sea. That is unbelievable.
That's fascinating, because in my experience, based on what you say, beauty, elegance, and certainly the yachts designed by Ferretti and made by Ferretti have a very traditional hallmark of craftsmanship. Innovation comes in based on the rising emergence of the next generation of ultra-high net worths. So let me ask you this. What do you foresee the trend for the next generation of yacht owners, and how are you going to adapt and evolve to that?
I can answer based on the data that we have, because again, selling in 71 countries, I can tell you that the average age of our clients is they're becoming younger and younger. So again, step one, connectivity. You cannot have a kid without his phone. Impossible. I mean, biggest punishment for my son is to take the phone and take it away. And my generation was the motorbike or the car. Now it's the phone. Nobody cares about the bikes anymore. One more thing which is attracting the new generation is they're very careful to the environment, more than my generation. I'm 1964, so I am a dinosaur. I will be 60 this year. And they do care more about the kind of materials, kind of fuel consumption, the range, the quality of life on board, more than the speed. Actually, if the previous generation was more attracted to speed, now it's more attractive to comfort, no vibration, stabilization. Everybody hates to be on a gondola, floating like a gondola in Venezia when they spend an average €5 million ticket for Ferretti Group or 6. You know, the gondola in Venice is not very stable. Everyone being in Venice knows exactly what I'm referring to. If you stand up in the gondola, you're falling down in the laguna. This is changing. Attention to the environment, loudspeakers, huge TV screens. Actually, if one of my clients sees this, most likely is going to ask us to put it on. Huge TV screens like never before. Nobody cared about the television. It's changing, but at the end of the day, also the young generation, what they want? They want to stay, they want freedom. We sell freedom. We sell the possibility of switching from one destination to another. We sell the possibility of having your floating villa in the Med from Capri to Sardinia to Amalfi Coast or to Sicily, if you're there, or from Turkey to Greece. In Spain or in Hong Kong, you can easily cruise and go to, if you want, down up to north to Shenzhen, or you can go souther. In Thailand is a very big destination coming up and booming now, thank God. There's so many things to see. So what is the limitation of having a boat? Time, which is exactly the biggest limitation of any ultra high net worth individual today. One of the most precious things that our client can make to us as a gift is to participate to our events. We do exclusive events, incredible events that money actually cannot buy. They give us their time. Is there anything more precious than time? And by the way, thank you for wasting your time listening to me today.
So one can imagine you must have some buyers with fantastical ideas of how to personalize their Ferretti. Give us a sneak peek, some idea of some of the most, out there personalization things that you've done on your boats that for you is really so out there and so bespoke.
Again, do we have 2 years? Let's make a couple of examples. Depends on the size of the boat. A small Riva is an icon. Nobody wants to touch the mahogany, the leather, the upholstery of a Riva, because it's like touching the interior of a Ferrari. You don't touch it. You keep it with leather. You can personalize the coloring or the trimming, but you don't do that much because you want it to be classic and traditional and consistent to the tradition of Riva. If you go to the large ships like CRN from 50 to 90 meters, well, that sky's the limit. Gyms, this is something that is shocking. Gym is becoming one of the most important features in yacht today. Don't look at me because I don't go to the gym. And when they ask, we had clients asking us to compromise a cabin, a guest cabin, instead to have a gym. I can understand the spa. I'm fully in with the spa. Whatever it takes, spa makes a lot of sense. Even if we put a sauna with 90, 100 degrees down under in a boat, you need to make sure that everything is built properly. But the gym and the size of the gym is shocking. So in any beach area in the stern of the boat, you will see more and more gym. Personalization, well, again, let me quote again Domenico Dolce. Domenico Dolce is in love with Riva since he was a child. And now he's building with us his, I think, 5th Riva. Personalization comes to the extent that we were 1 second to break the relationship and the friendship. Because he's a creator, he's a genius, he's a true genius, trust me. And every time we go to him, or we went to him with the solutions that we thought were the ideal solution for the wood, the leather, the mirrors, the steel, which are the typical components, or actually I would say magic components of a Riva. He said, you know what, I changed my mind. I said, what do you mean you changed your mind? I changed my mind. I think gold is going to be the color. I said, come on, gold? Yeah, because gold. And so we make the new thing in gold. And then he says, you know, I've seen a Riva in the 60s with zebra, black and white. I said, so from gold we were black and white. To cut the long story short, he's always changing, but I can tell you something. The final outcome of what he makes, and he makes it 3 years in advance, 2 years in advance, is incredibly contemporary. One example, the first Riva he bought was a 38-foot, small runabout, called the Riva Mare, the hull number 1. And we went to him with the interior designer, proposed furniture. It was a light furniture like oak. He said, Riva has to be mahogany, shiny mahogany, gloss, heavy gloss mahogany, like the Aquarama in the 60s, like the iconic runabouts of the 60s. I said, but Domenico, who's going to buy mahogany in 2016 back then? He said, well, my one is going to be mahogany. Okay, but it's going to be only one. My one is going to be mahogany. So we presented that boat in 2016. You know how many Riva Mare we sold since 2016? I'm talking about the 1.5 million euro boat for a 38-footer. There's no comparison on earth. Well, 100. You want to know how many of the 100 have the oak interior that the designer proposed, and how many has the interior that Domenico Dolce picked for Riva, being the iconic wood and material for Riva? Let's make a bet. Over 100, eh? How many followed the designer's advice, and how many followed Domenico Dolce style of hull number 1?
Maybe a hands up. Maybe a hands up here. So
Make
hands
a number.
up. Nah.
90 to 10? Anyone else?
Yeah. Anyone else?
Okay, 98 2. 98 Riva, 38 Riva Mare over 100 were picked, clients picked over 100, the same interior design that Domenico Dolce picked. Every time he sees me, he wants royalties for that decision. I'm not going to pay, but to tell you sometimes how important creativity is and the importance of having the best designers in the world, the best advisors in the world. And you know what I love? To be contaminated by other areas. When I enter into an Hermes shop with my wife, I stare the way the product is presented, the quality of the material, and it's a contamination that comes from there, and we try to apply in our boats. And maybe I've been very pleased of seeing some solutions that we presented in our boats seen in other industries. Contaminations is very important. It's like art. Art is always the outcome of contaminations of styles.
On the subject of personalization, on the subject of innovation, there's also a third very important demand that many luxury yacht owners are asking for, which is sustainability. So throwing that sustainability mix into, let's say, a super yacht that's, you know, a very high energy consuming vessel, how do you make that balance of sustainability, innovation, design, elegance, in a super yacht. How challenging is sustainability for you in that sort of hybrid environment?
Okay, first of all, let's make a big difference between our industry and the automotive industry. Automotive industry, for regulations in Europe at least, has been pushed strongly to go to so-called, I would say, sustainable solutions, whether it's full electric or hybrid. Our industry is not pushed by any regulation. That being said, we keep investing like we are pushed by a legislation to make it happen. Ferretti Group invested every year heavily on all potential solutions that are in the market, because we can't say today which one is going to be the winning one, but you can't ignore any of them. One, full electric. The brand Riva, sorry, it's not for me to say, is the most famous brand in the world, 185 years old. We have the first Riva full electric. So the very first full electric boat, we decided to label it with the most important brand we have. And we sold units. Don't forget, it's a 27-footer that we sell at €1 million. And we sold from America to, believe it or not, Uzbekistan to Europe. Now, hybrid, the Infinito, Ferretti Infinito, we sold 9 units, is a typical example of having low emission, low fuel consumption boat with a lot of technical solutions that enable the boat to go from, to make an example, Italy to Côte d'Azur without the generators on, because the solar power and the power cell that we have in the batteries is enough. Then we have the most important thing, sailboats. There's nothing more sustainable than a sailboat, and we have Wally. Wally, just to rephrase Ferretti Group, Wally is a brand where a sailboat of 100 feet costs €16 million. Why? It's a Formula One of the sea. Super performing, super beautiful. So the buyers are looking for possible solution. We have every possible solution in the market, including fuel cell for the big boats. But I can tell you something. The market is not following so quickly as I was expecting the possibility of purchasing a boat with so-called sustainable solution. Looks like that the market is driven by, first of all, because they are more expensive, is driven by other things, factors. Again, let's go back. Beauty, style, spaces, proximity to the water, windows, elegance, and sustainability. I'm expecting the new generation to be more focused on that.
And on that basis, you mentioned earlier that time is defined as true luxury. And many of your buyers are looking for security and privacy. So within that whole demand of your buyers, how does Ferretti adapt to those conditions for those buyers?
You have to give them what they want, and more important, you have to predict what they would like to have in the future. Because don't forget, we are now discussing the product range of 28, 29, 23. So you have to be a future teller. Sometimes you need a crystal ball. We know what they like, because exactly it comes out that is what we like. How can you predict? Difficult. That's why you need to have young people. Ladies and gentlemen, bad news. This industry requires young people, motivated. Bad news for me, because I'm a dinosaur. You need to have women. Actually, Ferretti Group turned around. We are listed in Hong Kong and listed in Milano. The only company in the world listed in these two markets. It's been done by women and young people. I have some of my team here. They are 20 years younger than me. That's very important, because they know exactly what's going to be the world in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years. I mean, if I have to change the mobile phone from Apple to Samsung, I will not survive that. Impossible. If I lose the phone and I have to make again some sort of iCloud data transferring back to my new phone, I need an assistant. I'm too old. I speak a different language. Time is flying. Times, as a friend of mine is Francesco De Gregori, is an Italian singer. He says, time gets speed. Il tempo prende velocità. Time is becoming faster and faster and faster. So in order to fulfill the desires of the future, you need to have young people in the company. There's no way that the guy of my generation can see and predict what the new generation would like to have on a vessel which costs 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 million euro in 3, 4, 5 years. Impossible. Also designers, they need to be young. You need to invest in the young generation. There's no other way.
But does the brand loyalty in buying and upgrading the yachts, I'm assuming that is within, let's say, a family office or a family that's been on your yachts since they were a small age, rather than new entrants and new buyers into Ferretti?
We have everything. Okay, if the father has been on a Riva, the son most likely will be on a Riva. But it's not necessarily the story. I mean, we had the good of Ferretti Group is that we have 7 brands. And 40 is public data. 44% of the sales of the group is cross-selling between the brands. So they start with one brand, then they decide to go for a faster boat like Pershing, or they decide to go for a displacement yacht like Custom Line, or maybe they have to have 2 because they have different locations. So fantastic opportunity that we have, having 7 nodes in the pentagram, not overlapping one with the other. But definitely tradition plays a role. I mean, at the end of the day, if the father is the one that's going to sign the check, he will have a word in the decision. But the new generation, also of rich and wealthy people from Korea to Hong Kong to United States to Italy, or the Gulf, they have their own view. They follow their own desires. They don't listen to what dad used to like. They buy what they do like. It's happening the same thing as the car industry. It's very easy to follow the trends. The most difficult thing is to make a compromise, which sounds impossible, between tradition and innovation. You can't change the tradition of a Riva. It's the strength of the brand. But you can't sell a boat that people loved 20 years ago. So that difficult job of evolving the tradition of our brands, some of them especially, is one of the most challenging things. But you can't avoid it. Mandatory exercise.
I'm picking up on something, the synergy that Ferretti has with the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and the Milan Stock Exchange. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ferretti Group is the only company that's to be listed on both the stock exchanges. How did that happen and why did it happen?
Well, for a very simple reason. Ferretti Group has been present in Hong Kong since 2000. I mean, I think Ferretti Yachts, most famous brands in mainland China for sure. And we have buyers from Hong Kong since 20 and plus years, maybe more. The reality is that Hong Kong, in 2022, we listed, if I think that we had the road show for listing in Hong Kong, in the middle of a war in Europe, between Russia and Ukraine, and if I think how proud we were when we got listed in Hong Kong in March 31st, 2022, I still shiver. Hong Kong is a place to be. You can, I mean, our office is a landmark. How many times have been seen possibilities of having cheaper location in Hong Kong? We have to be, Hong Kong is the place to be, and in the place to be, you have to be in the place to be. Why are we at the Regent? So, you know better than me that Hong Kong plays a role. Hong Kong is an important stock exchange. Hong Kong gave us the possibility to get listed here. And then our peers, our industry, is Italiana. So the idea of listing in Milano was a mandatory move. Being listed in 2 markets, today we were a stock exchange, is not easy. I think it was a satisfactory, actually, a good exercise for the company. Will I do it again? Not in this life. Today I've been asked, are you considering having a 3rd listing elsewhere? I said, over my dead body, was my reply. Too much, too difficult, too much stress, I'm too old. But it's been fantastic. And we love Hong Kong. The 2 head of sales of Ferretti Group, to make an example, Giordano Pelacani, they should be sitting there, and Alessandro Tirelli, they both come from experience of representing Ferretti and other brands in Hong Kong. They learned in Hong Kong, and now they are at the top of their careers after 10, 15 years. Hong Kong is a great market, signori. I'm in love with Ferrari. Hong Kong is a fundamental market for Ferrari as well. Where do you drive the cars? I have no idea. But, do you need to drive a Ferrari? No. The most important thing is to have it and to look at that.
Okay, so I'm going to go off script here, yes, Alberto. And this is, I'm going to run a little bit over time, Kirsten, because I'm going to ask a personal question. Now, earlier on
Gesù.
today, Frank Walliser, Dr. Walliser, had a spotlight with me, and he is German.
Nobody's
now-
perfect, huh?
And he's now chairman and CEO of Bentley Motors, which is an
And nobody's perfect.
UK brand. Now, football is beautiful, as you know.
Invented by the devil.
And for those in here that don't know, Alberto Galassi's other role is a director of Manchester City Football Club. So as a personal question, I'd like to ask you, what made you, as an Italian, be the first, I believe, Italian to join Manchester City, which is the iconic UK British football club?
Okay, the
Join as a director, and what did you learn from it? What's your experience? What can we learn from that?
The story is very simple. It's a story of friendship. The chairman of Manchester City, His Excellency Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, by the way, CEO of Mubadala Sovereign Fund in Abu Dhabi, is my friend since 1999. Actually, we met each other around 2000, to be honest. And we had no idea that in life we were becoming so good friends, nearly brothers. And at one stage, he was asking me to join in the board as the one and only Italiano. But it's a very interesting board because there are Scottish, Abu Dhabi, Spanish, Australian, American. So it's a very, very international board of Manchester City. So I'm representing the old continent and the old country of football with passion of football, of course, that you must have. What did I learn? A lot. Because people focus on the 90 minutes on the pitch. 90 minutes of the pitch means nothing. Luck plays a role, injury plays a role, the referee plays a role, the weather plays a role. 22 players, 11 are playing, the other in the bench are human beings. So their personal life plays a role. But what you learn in managing a club that won everything is the importance of planning, the importance of thinking with the head and not with the head of the supporter. You need to be cold. You need to take harsh decisions sometimes for the best of the club, which are not driven by the dream of winning anytime, anything. You have to manage the defeat, which is a lesson that I learned. The most important thing in life and in football, you can win, also in love. You can win and you can lose. The most important thing is how you win and how you lose. And how do you behave when you win and how do you behave when you lose. So that is something that Manchester City taught me a lot. To manage the defeat, to manage the crisis, to manage success, to manage the euphoria of the victory, and to manage a club which the revenues and the numbers are at the end of the day the most important thing of the club. Club is making incredible results in terms of visibility, sponsors, revenues, fantastic. Now, you can win, you can lose, that's part of the game, but the 90 minutes are basically reflecting what's behind the company in terms of planning and managing a real corporation.
So in some sense, I suppose Ferretti and Manchester City Football Club is run more or less very similarly with your...
Manchester City won more than the Ferretti, but it's time to improve for Ferretti Group.
One final question, and that is, you mentioned for many people, time, privacy is luxury for them. So the question I would like to ask you, Mr. Galassi, is what is luxury for you?
This is the most difficult question I've been asked in the past year. Definitely time with the people you love, because time flies, and the people you love you can lose. Definitely, time with the people you love.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for Mr. Alberto Galassi, CEO of Ferretti Group, for such a fun and enjoyable discussion. Thank you very much.
Grazie. You have to learn this word, eh? Grazie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Galassi and Tachman.